welcome on behalf of the Kearney International Women's Day Forum 2022 to this new spotlight session of the program, in which we discuss with the representative of industries and institutions on some key themes around gender equality. I'm Marina Catino, and I'm a partner at Kearney in the Strategic Operation Practice. And thank you to my guest, Luca Rossi, Senior Partner at Kearney, leading our consumer goods and retail practice in Italy. Luca, thank you for taking the time to join me in this conversation around companies' diversity, equity, and inclusion commitment. Luca, leading companies we know that are accelerating on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also ESG commitment. And this is due to increasing pressure they are receiving and also changing expectation from consumers, investors, and employees. In your opinion, how much does the diversity and inclusion driver affect consumer choices nowadays? And how companies that you see are reacting?
Good morning, Marina, and thanks for having me here. Clearly, in the consumer product space at large, there is a strong trend towards sustainable and inclusive values. New generations in particular are mounting increasing demand around sustainable and inclusive products and values, whereby human and well-being is not only measured by economic well-being, but also by human well-being. For example, the clear trend around recyclable products and recyclable packaging has been on the newspapers. Several important organizations from Johnson & Johnson's to Unilever have defined very ambitious targets on completely recyclable packaging by 2025 or 2027. Of course, pressure not only by increasing consumer drive, but also from changing regulations from political bodies. The inclusion element, though, is also important and becoming even more relevant. I'm thinking in this case, for example, to the fashion industry. Fashion, which usually takes snapshots of societal changes in a very interesting way. I'm thinking, for example, back in the 60s and 70s, where they introduced the miniskirt and the bikini, taking, again, portraying and taking a snapshot of what was happening there in society. Now, again, inclusion is becoming relevant to the point that there are genderless collections, for example, being designed. Communication, which is actually driving the inclusion element more and more. I'm thinking, for example, to the New Zalando communication. Some of these are still a niche, Gucci genderless collection, for example, but there is a clear trend out there that is manifesting not only in goodwill, but also in actions, products, activities, thereby showing how these organizations are embracing these trends also for business purposes, which I think is one of the most powerful ways actually to make change happen in society.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And thinking about the experience that you have, and really now these initiatives that are, as you said, in various ways trying to meet these needs and expectations. Is there a differentiating contribution that, in your opinion, female talents can give to meet those needs?
Certainly, if they were possibly given the opportunity. If I take, again, for example, the fashion industry, women represent the majority of the spenders in the fashion industry. They spend 3 times as men in clothes. Yet, in a recent research, it was defined that less than 15% of the Fortune 5,000 in the Fortune 5,000 segment of the fashion companies have women CEOs, which is even lower than other industries like utilities or banking, which I find interesting. And this is not certainly, the challenge is not certainly in the intake, because this is an industry where almost 80% of the students in the most important fashion schools are women. So the root cause of this is probably multifold and different. I found interesting, for example, to note that at the start, the ambition level to become CEO is the same between women and men. They are more or less at the same level. But as you progress to vice president level, the ambition level for women remains steady at around 70%, while for men grow at 90%. It seems like that the ambition is not cultivated for women along the journey, which then translates in the numbers I showed before. And the causes for this are multiple. Awareness, there is a lack of awareness of the challenge. So if you ask, men don't recognize this challenge in that segment, for example. And this lack of awareness most often translates into a lack of action. And so very little is done to support the problem. I think there are different solutions to this. Clearly, putting in place the right programs to support women's career would be key. I'm thinking, for example, the work-life balance programs, because if I take again the fashion industry, the personal token taken by the role in some of these segments is very daunting. And so work-life balance programs would be very important, as much as career advice to women would be super important. But in the end, you can put all those programs in place, but then is the example which would probably make the real difference. And so there is nothing as powerful as leading by example that would actually help drive change. So, for example, having CEOs acting as role model, or having powerful men taking parental leaves, which are allowed by their organizations, would be super relevant. And in the end, promote true meritocracy, which sometimes is not there, because true meritocracy would be a powerful equalizer, so that in the end we would allow to have women to have the right share in this industry as well.
Thank you, Luca. And considering, I think also the war for talent in which we are in, I think these are very good initiatives companies have to think about in order to meet those needs. So I would like to thank you very much, Luca, for your insight and contribution to this moment of reflection and awareness around the importance of gender equity and diversity. And I see you all on the next Spotlight session. Thank you.
Thank you.